Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome back. We're looking at question number 14 now on the 2008 Pascal paper. Two three-digit numbers, A, B, C, and D, E, F. So these guys here are the single digits that make it up. So A is the hundreds digit and so on. Have the following property. If I add them up, I get 1,000. Okay, that's not uncommon. None of A, B, C, D, E, or F is 0. Okay, that might make it a little harder to find a pair that works. What is A plus B plus C plus D plus E plus F? Okay. I can't think immediately of a trick for... Okay. So, I think there's probably sort of two approaches to this one. I know I say that for a lot of questions, but just usually there's a slow, obvious way, and then there's a faster way if you can make some connections. And so that's why I often say I can think of two ways to do this. It's more, I guess, special if I say I can think of three ways to do it. But one way, since they're kind of being vague about it, I imagine if you just started picking, like if you just picked a value for C, you could figure out the value for F that you would need, and then, you could pick a value for B. A 1 will likely be carried and things like that. And because of the way they've phrased it, as long as I can get an A, B, and C, and a D, E, F that add to 1,000 with none of the digits being 0, as long as I can do that, I should get the same A plus B plus C plus D plus E plus F. So what I'm saying is, I think there's a lot of A, B, C's, and D, E, F's that'll work. In fact, if you get one pair, just switch them around and, make your D, E, F the A, B, C, and so forth. So I think there's sort of that way, and if you can get over the fact that you're not really deducing a whole lot, you're just sort of picking numbers that work. If you can get over that, I think this question will go very quickly. And so we could, for example, try that. So we want a total of 1,000, and we want no number to be 0. I don't know, let's pick C as 4. Doesn't really matter. How about F is 6? Well, then we'd carry a 1. So there's no reason B can't be 4 again. 1 plus 4, there's 5 left over. So we'll need to add another 5 to get a 10. Carry the 1. Now let's switch things up and make a 8. Doesn't really matter. 1, 8, so that's 9, so we need another 1 here. And that adds up to 10, so we get 1,000. And then 8 and 1 is 9, plus 4 is 13, plus 5 is 18, plus 4 is 22, plus 6 is 28. Okay. And so 28 is our answer. And if you just say, well, I found some pair that works, so that must be the way it happens, that's a good thing to be able to do. And it actually can help you. I've used it on more advanced problems when we're trying to sort of proofread or double check that the 8, 9, and 10 on the Euclid, for example, work. Sometimes they'll, and it's getting less common as we go along, but sometimes they'll give you a geometric construction. They'll say, A, B, C, D is a quadrilateral, so it's got 4 sides, and it's got this, this, this. And they just give you sort of like, this angle must be whatever, or these side lengths must be whatever. And there's a lot of room for interpretation on a question like that. And so I find it's quite helpful to sometimes say, well, could I just assume A, B, C, D is a rectangle? And if a rectangle can fit all the other things that they're telling me it has all the other properties A, B, C, D has, then by assuming it's a rectangle, I can simplify things and get to an answer very, very quickly. So when they give you a question that's vague, in that, there's probably a bunch of answers, just pick one and go with it. You don't have to be a super sleuth or anything like that. Now, I said there's a second way to do it. If none of A, B, C, D, E, or F are 0, then that means if I take a look at this addition, in order to get a 0 here, I'll have to have C and F add up to 10, so I'll be carrying a 1. So that tells me C plus F has to be 10. Wouldn't anything that ends in a 0 work? Well, it can't be 0, because otherwise then CNF would have to be 0. And there's no two single digits that add up to 20 or more. The best you can do is two 9s that add up to 18. So it's going to have to be 10. And that means we carry a 1, just like we did up here. But by carrying that 1, that means B and E, in order to get a 0 down here, are going to have to add up to 9. And so then we get 10, we carry a 1, and that means in order to get this 0 and this 1 here, A and D have to add up to 10. Or sorry, have to add up to 9, because we carry the 1. And when you realize that, well, okay, A, B, C plus D, E, F is just 9 plus 9 plus 10, and it's always going to be 28. So that's a way to realize that no matter what I do, I'm going to get 28. Now, not everyone's going to come along and approach it from that angle. So I think a lot of people will probably just say, well, plug in some numbers and it'll work, and you won't really think that much about it. And let's be honest, on question number 14, you shouldn't be putting a whole lot of effort into it. That said, I mean, if it's your first time contesting, this might be around as far as you're going to make it. Just because you haven't learned enough math, or you haven't learned how to budget your time or anything like that. But for the people who are going to, make the in-depth deductions about, well, C plus F has to be 10 no matter what, and so on, I think these are the people who probably will just realize, I could pick a number, let C be 3, and then F's got to be 7, and work your way through that. But that's two different ways to do it, two entirely different approaches. One's just picking some numbers and hoping everything works out. The other one is taking a logical look at the situation, and they both get 28 fairly quickly. Alright, so that was question number 14. I will see you in the next video for question number 15. Until then, take care.